7 years ago, I started dating a woman, let's call her Maya. She has a son, Mark. He was 4 years old when I started dating Maya. Mark's father, Maya's husband, unfortunately passed away when he was still a baby, so he has no memory of him. Maya and I got along quite well, and our relationship proceeded steadily and without too many problems. In time, I built a good relationship with Mark too, and by the time he was 7, we were a good trio. Unfortunately, my relationship with Maya ended 2 years ago. It was nobody's fault. There was no cheating or abuse involved. We simply had some problems, and we came to the conclusion that it was better to break up. Last week, I got a call in the middle of the night. It was Mark calling. When I was still dating Maya, I had given him my phone number and told him to call if he was ever in trouble and needed help. He had never called since Maya and I broke up, but that night he was panicking. He called and told me that he and Maya had a car accident. He was okay, but Maya was injured, and they had been taken to the hospital. I pondered what to do, but decided to go to the hospital. Maya has no living relatives, and Mark told me he was alone, so I went there mostly to take care of Mark. When I arrived, Maya was still unconscious, so I stayed with Mark for several hours until she regained consciousness. When she saw me, she asked why I was there, and I told her about Mark calling me. She said I should not have come and forced me to leave. At the time, I apologized and left because I thought I had overstepped her boundaries. But now, thinking back, I don't think I did anything wrong. Mark was panicking, and he called the person he wanted by his side in that moment. Was it wrong for me to come? Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Here's the thing. What if she hadn't woken up relatively quickly? The hospital would have had a social worker put him in an emergency foster situation, so he would have been relatively safe, but he likely would also have been unable to visit his mother or attend his regular school. Yes, his mum was upset, and maybe reasonably so, considering her situation and the confusion. But somebody needs to let that kid know he didn't do anything wrong. God forbid something should happen in the future, and he has no one he can call. Comment 2. No idiots here. A young boy is afraid for his mother and all alone while she is injured. This wasn't an attempt to revisit a relationship. It's about taking care of a kid who is scared when their primary adult is in an emergency situation. It might have been a knee-jerk reaction at being surprised by your presence, but she might realize after some thought that it was right for you to show up when Mark called you in a panic. How cold would it have been to say no anyway? Comment 3. No idiots here. If I was in a car accident that left me conscious for hours, I probably wouldn't want to wake up to see my ex. However, you weren't wrong to go to the hospital when Mark called. Apologizing and leaving was the right move. Don't get hung up on the idea that you were in the right. So was she. Now for the update. I can't believe I'm writing this, but here's what happened since my last post about being at the hospital after Maya's accident. The outpouring of advice and support from everyone here was overwhelming, and it gave me a lot to think about. So, after Maya asked me to leave the hospital, I respected her wishes. It was tough, walking away, feeling like I might be abandoning Mark in such a critical time. But then something amazing happened. A few days later, Maya called me. Her voice was weak, but there was an urgency I couldn't ignore. She apologized for pushing me away and said it was the pain and medication talking. She told me Mark had been asking for me, and if I was still willing, they both would like me to visit. I went to the hospital the next day. The moment I walked into Maya's room, Mark ran up and hugged me like the past 2 years hadn't happened. We spent the day talking, playing some card games, and just being there for each other. Maya and I also had a heart-to-heart. We cleared up a lot of unresolved feelings and misunderstandings from our breakup. There's been so much growth on both sides. It was like meeting each other for the first time again. Over the weeks, as Maya recovered, I found myself over at their place more and more, helping out with chores, cooking, and keeping Mark on track with schoolwork. It was like slipping into a comfortable routine that I didn't realize I'd missed so much. Last Saturday, we all went out for a small picnic, Maya's first outing since the accident. It was supposed to be a celebration of her recovery, but it turned into something more. As the sun set and Mark was off playing with some newfound friends, Maya took my hand and with tears in her eyes, she thanked me for not giving up on them. She admitted that pushing me away was her way of trying to protect herself from potential heartbreak again, but she realized that the love and bond I had with Mark, and surprisingly, the one that still lingered between us, was worth taking a risk for. Now, I'm not saying we're back together. We're taking it slow, figuring things out one step at a time. But the truth is, there's a lot of love there, not just between me and Maya, but between me and Mark too. Last night, Mark asked if it would be okay to start calling me Dad again, like he used to when things were good between all of us. It was a moment I'll never forget, and needless to say, I told him I'd like that very much. So, to everyone who said I should keep being there for Mark, thank you. It led me down a path where not only did I get to support him through tough times, but it also brought healing to all of us. Turns out, sometimes love doesn't just persist, it evolves and finds a way back when you least expect it. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's commendable that you respected Maya's initial wishes to leave the hospital after her accident. It takes a lot of strength and understanding to step back in such an emotionally charged situation, especially when it involves someone you care about deeply. Her subsequent apology and explanation about the pain and medication impacting her behavior demonstrate her awareness of the situation and your graciousness in accepting that apology speaks to your character. It's often in the most challenging times that we realize the depth of our connections, and your ability to help Maya and Mark during the recovery phase without any immediate expectation of reciprocation is an act of genuine kindness. As for Mark asking to call you Dad again, it's a significant indicator of the emotional bonds you've nurtured with him, despite the complexities of past issues. It's heartwarming to hear that your support and consistent presence have facilitated a healing process that has allowed for the possibility of rekindling love. Your actions demonstrate patience, forgiveness, and a strong moral compass, which are all qualities to be admired in any individual. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your story is a testament to the power of support and unconditional love. Despite the initial setback at the hospital, you've shown remarkable resilience and have been a pillar of strength for both Maya and Mark. The process of resolving past issues and reconnecting with them suggests that all parties involved were willing to communicate openly and work through their problems, which is a healthy approach to repairing and strengthening relationships. Your decision to start helping out more at their place is a clear indication of your commitment to their well-being, which is an incredibly selfless act. Moreover, your response to Maya's acknowledgement of lingering love shows emotional maturity and the ability to handle sensitive situations with grace. The fact that Maya and Mark are openly expressing their appreciation for you is a sign that your efforts have not gone unnoticed and that the emotional investment from all sides is leading to a positive outcome. It's also worth noting that the re-emergence of a parental role with Mark, as he wishes to call you Dad again, implies that your bond with him is not solely based on your relationship with Maya, but is a standalone connection that has its own value and significance. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Your actions throughout Maya's recovery have been nothing short of admirable. When faced with her initial rejection at the hospital, you chose to honor her wishes instead of imposing your own needs or desires, which shows great respect for her autonomy. The fact that you were open to reconnecting and supporting Maya and Mark without bitterness after her change of heart is reflective of your capacity for empathy and understanding. Your assistance and presence during Maya's recovery likely provided both emotional and practical support, which is crucial for someone in her situation. The gradual nature of your reintegration into their lives, culminating in the picnic where Maya expressed her gratitude and love, indicates a healthy and respectful approach to re-establishing a relationship without rushing or forcing a reconciliation. Your willingness to move at a pace that is comfortable for everyone involved is a sign of emotional intelligence. The emotional journey you've undertaken, which has led to Mark's request to call you Dad again, is indicative of the deep bonds that have been rebuilt over time. The deliberate and considerate manner in which you've approached the entire situation shows a high level of ethics and a strong sense of responsibility toward the emotional health of both Maya and Mark. Now, for the next story. I, 39-year-old male, live in the USA, but I'm from India. I have 2 children. Prakyat, 11-year-old male, and Ria, 12-year-old female, the latter of whom is my stepdaughter. We were setting off fireworks in the yard of our house during the evening. There's an American kid in the next neighborhood who's also 11 years old. Alex. He's autistic. As we celebrated, Alex was going somewhere with his parents. He hurried over when he saw the fireworks, asking us what we were doing. Prakyat explained it to him while Ria stayed quiet. He asked the kids if he could set off some fireworks himself. Ria said, "Sorry, but it's not for people like you." His parents had heard what she had said and were shocked, including myself. I asked Ria to apologize right away, but she refused. She had only spoken the truth, that Alex would hurt himself because he's autistic. I was extremely embarrassed, and even my wife asked her to apologize once, but she refused. I apologized to the parents who didn't say anything as they walked away with Alex. I was furious and asked Ria to go to her room. She was grounded for a week, cancelled the party for her, and told her she couldn't set off fireworks. She became hysterical, telling me it was too much. But I didn't change my mind, and in the end she was forced to stay in her room and couldn't go outside. I took Prakyat to Alex's house later with some Diwali sweets and apologized again, and this time they were a little happier about the apology. My wife says I went too far and that even though Ria shouldn't have said that, my punishment for a week and no celebration ruined it for her, etc. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Attitudes like your SDs need to be stopped as soon as possible. And honestly, just one grounding will not do it. This will just teach her to hide her prejudices. You need to find a therapist who specializes in these things to work with her. However, in response to your wife about how the grounding ruined the celebration for her, that was the point of the grounding. The punishment wouldn't have an impact if it didn't. If this is how your wife reacts when your SD acts badly, I can see how she ended up like this. Comment 2, Indian descent here. You're doing a really good job of raising her. By showing her that her actions have consequences, you are correcting errors that your wife has made with her. I mean this in the most respectful way possible, but your stepdaughter turned out that way because your wife did not set rules and encourage that behavior. I truly believe that if you lay ground rules and continue to show her the better route, she will change and get better. Thanks for being a good father and best wishes. Comment 3. Not the idiot. As a child, when I would get grounded and no phone privileges for, say, 2 weeks, I remember throwing myself on the floor like it was the end of the world. I thought I would die without access to the telephone. But I learned my lesson on that. What I say and do has consequences. I myself can control what I say and do, but I myself cannot control the consequences, so act accordingly. Now, for the update. I wanted to come back here and provide an update on the situation with my kids, Ria, Prakyat and our neighbour Alex, after the Diwali incident. A few weeks after the incident, Ria's grounding had ended, and she had been doing a lot of thinking. She asked us if she could talk to Alex to apologise properly. We supported this and went over to Alex's house with her. Ria sat down with Alex and his parents, and she gave a sincere apology, explaining that she had learned a lot about autism and how her words were hurtful. Alex accepted the apology, and they ended up talking about school and video games. Turns out they both love Minecraft. Since then, Ria and Alex have been getting along really well. She's been including him in some of our family activities, and Prakyat and Alex have become good friends too. They've been working on a Minecraft project together, which has been great for both of them. On top of that, Ria has started a little project at school with her teacher's guidance to raise awareness about autism and inclusivity. She's been actively participating in community service, and it seems to have sparked a genuine interest in helping others. My wife and I are relieved to see our children growing from this experience, and we've also learned a lot about parenting through this challenge. We've started to have more open conversations at home about empathy, kindness, and the importance of understanding differences. As for Alex's parents, they've been really understanding and appreciative of how we handled things. We've become closer as neighbours, and we're planning a small community gathering soon where our kids can play and the adults can get to know each other better. It's been a heartwarming turn of events, and I'm proud of how Ria stepped up to make things right. It's moments like these that remind me of the resilience and goodness in our children. Thanks to everyone who offered advice and shared their thoughts on the situation. It truly helped us navigate through a tough learning curve as a family. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's great to hear that Ria recognised her mistake and made a genuine effort to apologise to Alex. Educating oneself about autism after realising the impact of one's words demonstrates personal growth and a willingness to make amends. The fact that Ria and Alex have found common ground in Minecraft is a positive development, as shared interests can be a strong foundation for a lasting friendship. Moreover, Ria's initiative to raise awareness about autism and inclusivity at her school is a commendable step towards fostering a more understanding and supportive community. The effort put in by the parents to learn more about parenting and improve communication at home is crucial, as it shows a collective commitment to creating a nurturing environment. The story reflects a realistic and constructive approach to resolving misunderstandings and building stronger relationships. Comment 2. Not the idiot. The development of a friendship between Ria and Alex is a testament to the power of empathy and understanding in overcoming initial conflicts. By finding a shared passion in Minecraft, they've managed to bridge the gap that once existed between them. It is also heartening to hear that the incident has catalyzed a broader conversation about inclusivity and autism within the community. Ria's school project not only helps educate her peers, but also serves to normalize conversations about neurodiversity, which can often be neglected in school settings. The positive response from Alex's parents further indicates that this approach has been healing and constructive for both families. This story is a wonderful example of how a difficult situation can be transformed into an opportunity for growth and positive change. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The resolution of the Diwali incident demonstrates a high level of emotional intelligence on the part of all parties involved. The ability of both families to move beyond the initial conflict and work towards a closer relationship is noteworthy. It's particularly impressive that the parents have taken this as an opportunity to engage in open conversations about parenting, which often requires a great deal of vulnerability and reflection. The amicable resolution and the subsequent collaboration on a Minecraft project highlight the potential for video games to serve as a platform for social connection and mutual understanding, especially among younger individuals. Ria's proactive stance in starting an inclusivity project not only indicates personal growth, but also suggests leadership qualities that can inspire others. The story serves as an example of how mutual respect and a willingness to learn from one another can mend fences and foster a sense of community. Now, for the next story. My wife, 31 years old, and I, 33 years old, have a 3-year-old boy. He currently goes to daycare during the day. I generally drop him off, and then my wife's mother will pick him up. Unfortunately, my wife cannot drive, so she unfortunately cannot take him. I have found that if I get my son out the door by 8:45, I can get him to daycare and then be on time for work. Unfortunately, my wife tends to drag her feet with getting him fed and ready, so she has caused me to be late multiple times. I'm in a field where I simply cannot be late, and therefore this situation is unacceptable. I have been late 4 times since he started going to daycare, and my wife has only gotten less consistent. Last Wednesday, I realized that if I waited for my wife to get him fully ready, I'd be late for work. I simply walked out the door. She called me screaming angrily, but I told her that if she didn't want him to stay home, she should have had him ready on time. The next day, she managed to get him out right at 8:45, but on Friday it became clear again that she was going to cause me to be late. I just walked out the door. She texted me multiple times, and when I got home at around 11 p.m, she had a lot to say about it. I don't think I'm the jerk for my policy, seeing as I simply cannot afford to be late for work, but I wonder if there's something I'm not seeing here. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot based on your answers. The least she can do is get the kid ready on time. It'll be worse if you get fired from your job. Maybe your kid can shower in the evening and just wash his face in the morning, so it's pretty much just breakfast needing to be done. He can even eat a sandwich in the car at a daycare. And you do realise this is not a sustainable arrangement. You will die with this 2-job schedule while she is mentally unwell. If she wants this to work as a wife and mother, she needs to actively find treatment for her anxiety disorder. There's her asking for a bit of help, and there's screaming at you for you asking her to step up a bit. Big difference. Was she like this before having a child? Could it be some kind of extended PPD that got worse? Don't forget to thank mother-in-law for helping out. Comment 2. Not the idiot, this is completely and utterly ridiculous. You are working 13 hours, not getting home till 11 p.m, and then doing chores before you go to bed. Your wife doesn't drive, doesn't work, doesn't look after the kid all day, and still cannot get him sorted on time so you can take him to daycare and be at work on time and not lose your job. The job that's paying for her entire lifestyle to do nothing. This is a bigger problem than the kid not being ready on time. This is a come to Jesus talk time with your wife. Comment 3, not the idiot, okay, after the reading the comments. Guy works 2 jobs to essentially pay for everything while his wife is not employed and doesn't drive because of anxiety, and he's not home till 11 p.m. and has to be asleep within the hour he's home. With the child being at daycare during the day, all that would be left for the wife to do potentially is dinner and maybe some light cleaning. Not even laundry since OP does his own. Either the wife has postpartum depression or just doesn't want to do it. Now for the update. So it's been a wild couple of weeks since my last post, and you won't believe how things escalated. First off, I took some advice from here, and we agreed to set a strict schedule for getting our son ready in the mornings. Things seemed to be going fine for a couple of days, until one morning our son was particularly fussy and wouldn't eat. My wife was trying to be patient, but the clock was ticking, and I made the call to leave. Huge mistake. When I got to work, I had missed calls from my wife's cell and then from her mother. Turned out my wife had a panic attack after I left, and her mum had to come over and help. Apparently it was bad enough that they called an ambulance and she ended up at the hospital. To say I felt like the world's biggest jerk is an understatement. I rushed there, work be damned, and she was okay, but it was a serious wake-up call for both of us. Here's where it gets crazier. My boss, who I thought was going to rip me a new one for bailing on work, actually saw me in the hospital. His wife volunteers there and came over to check on things. After I explained what happened, he told me about his own family struggles and offered me a flex time schedule so I could come in later after dropping off my son at daycare. We've also had some heart-to-hearts, my wife and I, and she confessed that she's been struggling with postpartum anxiety for a while but was afraid to tell me. She felt like she had to handle everything on her own. I felt awful for not noticing sooner, but grateful she finally opened up. Now for the real bombshell. My mother-in-law, who's been a godsend through all this, sat us down and told us she's been keeping a secret. She won a significant amount in the lottery a few months back. She's been figuring out what to do with it, and after seeing our struggles, she offered to pay for a part-time nanny to help in the mornings and any additional therapy my wife might need to manage her anxiety. I was floored. We accepted the help, and it's like the weight of the world has been lifted. The nanny is amazing, and my wife is getting the support she needs. I can get to work on time, and my boss's understanding has made me more loyal to my job than ever. So, yeah, not the update I expected to be giving, but life is strange and full of surprises. Thanks to everyone who offered advice and helped me see things from a different perspective. It's been a humbling and enlightening 2 weeks. Now, for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. It's clear from the story that both you and your wife were under an immense amount of stress trying to manage your morning routine. The fact that your wife had a panic attack is a serious indicator of the level of anxiety she has been dealing with, likely exacerbated by postpartum changes. It's commendable that you were able to recognize the strain on your family and accept the help offered by your boss and mother-in-law. Utilizing the flexible work schedule and the financial assistance for a part-time nanny and therapy was a responsible decision that ultimately led to better mental health for your wife and a more harmonious family dynamic. It's important to prioritize mental health and accept that sometimes we can't manage everything on our own. Your ability to acknowledge the issue and take the necessary steps to address it shows a level of maturity and responsibility that is to be admired. Comment 2, not the idiot. The situation you described is a prime example of how unexpected challenges such as postpartum anxiety can strain a family's daily life. It highlights the importance of open communication and support networks in navigating such difficulties. Your response to your wife's panic attack by leveraging the empathy of your boss and the financial windfall from your mother-in-law demonstrates a proactive approach to resolving the problem. Moreover, the story underscores the societal need to normalize seeking help for mental health issues, especially for new mothers who may be experiencing postpartum conditions. Your wife's willingness to disclose her struggles with postpartum anxiety and your collective decision to seek therapy is a positive step forward in destigmatizing mental health care. Additionally, the decision to accept financial help from the mother-in-law for a nanny allows for a more balanced distribution of childcare responsibilities, which is beneficial for everyone involved. Comment 3, not the idiot. Your story is a heartening example of how family and workplace understanding can play a crucial role in managing unexpected health crises like your wife's postpartum anxiety. The empathy demonstrated by your boss in offering a flexible work schedule is an important reminder of the value of compassionate leadership in the workplace. Furthermore, your mother-in-law's decision to offer financial support from her lottery winnings is a generous and impactful gesture that has evidently made a significant difference in your family's life. By accepting this support, you are not only able to alleviate some of the immediate stress, but also invest in long-term solutions like therapy, which can have a profound positive impact on your family's well-being. Your gratitude for the support received and the lessons learned about accepting help when it's needed is an important narrative that can inspire others to do the same in times of crisis. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.